Hey, my creative friends. My name is Shannon Christensen, and I belong to shannonstudio.com. So if you want to see some of my artwork or some of the things I do, I think I'm Shannon Studio across Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So, and I come on here, though, to talk about creative life tips, the creative process, anything that we can do to help have a more creative life. So that's what we do here. And like everybody else in the entire world, coronavirus is on our minds, and a lot of us are self-isolating and going through that process. So anything that I'm thinking about and doing is kind of just tied to that. And I apologize if you're, hey Joan, I apologize if you're kind of tired of hearing about it, but it's life. It's a life experience, and our creative lives are part of the process of what's happening in our real lives. So I was going through an items this week, and I'm like, I think this whole thing is wearing on me just a little bit, and so I think that's what we do, and maybe I'm doing it more. I don't even realize, but I know I'm doing it a little bit, and so it just is kind of this thing that I have to like mentally decide. Okay, you need to still do the same things you were doing before. Let yourself relax in certain ways. So like today I did, but my connection's not very good, so I think it's gonna do what it did the other night, where it's just like on and off. So I just wait until it comes back on and reconnects. So I was saying I took a break today and just did some things I just would relax me. I painted some more today, which it's kind of a little bit different painting when I'm relaxing painting. So anyways, and also it made me think of a few things, because I was looking in Kindle, and they have a little survey at the bottom of the Kindle of the notes section, because you can take notes, underline, that sort of thing. And I was going to print off some notes, and then it said, basically, do you like this? Do you like notes, the notebook part? Do you like that? And I'm like, yes, I love it. I didn't know that tool. Whenever Kindle came out before, I was not that enthralled with it, but I love it now because of that tool, because that tool makes when I go through and I have some thoughts and I'm doing I can always go back, because it's like there's a quote there, and I know I've underlined it, so I just have to find it, and that is such a great tool. So I'm like, yeah, I love that tool in Kindle. So I think the idea, new tools, that's a new tool to me. I mean, in the last couple of years, it's a new tool. It wasn't around a while. When Alan and he's worked in the oil fields, so he's been overseas before, and really young in our 20 years ago, 25, Reese's 25, yeah. So he's been away. We've been apart a lot of different times for his jobs. And so we used to write letters and maybe a phone call once a week when he was gone. And handwritten letters are pretty much gone, but the new tool is video chat. I video chat with my kids, see the grandkids, and, videos to be able to send. I can go out somewhere in town and take my phone and be able to have that new tool to be able to just like broadcast to whoever. It's an amazing thing now. Even though we've lost the handwritten letters, we have a new tool. And the whole idea of art, there's I don't know if you've ever heard of Frescoes. Frescoes are where you take wet plaster and you take pigment and mix the pigment in the plaster, and then you just do it on the wall. You just put the wet plaster on the wall and create this scene. I saw some wonderful frescoes when we went to Paris, and it was just amazing, because I've never really seen I don't think I've even seen them, and let alone seen really good ones. And they had some beautiful ones there, and I just thought that's almost a lost art. It's not completely lost, but most of us who are artists don't know how to do that. Same with tempura, not tempura, no, that's what you eat. Tempura. I'd like a little tempura with a little fish, shrimp, and a little yum. Okay, it's tempura, where you take egg yolks and you make your paint from egg yolks, and then you paint. And that, I mean, I don't know any of my artist friends who do that. I think there's there's several artists out there who still do that dyeing kind of art, but for the most of us, we don't know how to do it. We wouldn't even, we wouldn't know what to do. Even if you gave me the egg yolk and the pigment and said, hey, have at it. I mean, I could fumble around. I could, and I could do some experiments and test it out. And eventually I could probably get something that resembled a painting, but it's pretty much an old tool. Hey, Allison. So, so when oil paints were put in the foil tube, they were put into tubes, that gave artists a new tool that they could be able to go outdoors and paint. That wasn't, as easily done. And so then you have the introduction of plein air painting. So you have these things like plaster frescoes and tempura, and Allison says, hey lady, coming out from Missouri, you're asking me if I'm coming to Missouri. Is that right? But no, I'm not. But yeah, I wish I were. We were planning on coming in the summer. So yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Okay, so those old tools and that happens in all kinds of industries or in the arts. There's instruments that used to be played. Coming at you from Missouri. Okay, got you, Allison. Coming at you from Missouri. Yay, because you're kind of cooped up with everybody else. But it must be kind of nice for you, Allison, to have like a little break from your thing. I loved that comment about you're going to have something about sweatpants or stretchy pants or something. Anyways, I digress. So the same thing happens where old tools go out, instruments go out. There's some instruments that, I don't even know what they are. Glass, we used to take photographs, use glass plates for photographs. And so you get what I'm saying, is that there's old tools that we use for a long time, become very comfortable with, understand them, and then all of a sudden they're not applicable anymore. And so we have to change. And then sometimes some new tool comes in, and even though you're proficient at using something, the old tool, the new tool comes in and you go, I am and you get all frustrated when you're doing it. So for example, computers. When computers came out, most of us, when it says cut and paste, it was actually cut and paste. And, all of a sudden cut and paste means something entirely different. Well, not entirely different, but it's a different process to do it on the computer. And even when I knew the computer and I went back to school, I used a Mac, but then at school they had PCs, and it was like, it wasn't a Mac. And I was like struggling to figure it out. So anytime we have something new, we go through a process of struggle to figure it out and how to use it. Allison said, yep, I ordered my stretchy pants. I'm in the process of making 5 quilts. Oh, that sounds so fun. I don't know about you, but I am really, the creating things is really helping. I know Cassie at home, she texted me. We snapped at each other the other night. And so we just kind of left it that. But a little while after that, that wasn't a big, but after just a little while after that, she messaged me, can I use some? And I said, yeah, and then the next dress that she has on, she said, I think I need to sew to get a little stress. I'm going like, good idea. So I think that creative process that we go through, it helps us so much. They say it in research and we know it anecdotally. So, okay, so back to this. There's a quote, Art and Fear, from Ted Orland and David Bayles. So it says, your tools do more than just influence the appearance of the resulting They basically set limits upon what you can say with an art piece. Okay, so right off, there's a problem when you have certain tools, and it just limits what we can do on certain things. So they go on to say, and when particular tools and materials disappear because knowledge of how to make or use them is lost, artistic possibilities are lost as well. It's the endangered species of art making. So just like I was pointing out with several of those things, and I'm sure you guys can think of some areas where, especially us older ones, we know what it was like to, for instance, quilting, Allison. How did they quilt in the old days? And yet we have long arm quilters now where you can just quilt that baby like, oh, it's wonderful. I mean, they would have just looked at that like it was totally foreign, and probably some ladies can't even step into that new tool and venture. They're going to stay where they're at because it's very comfortable, and it's awkward, and it's the adjustment period and everything else that goes with the new tool. So more on that quote, it says, and likewise, when new tools appear, new artistic possibilities arise. And here we are. We have had some old tools taken out of our lives. That's the bottom. We have, they limited us in certain ways, and now we are just like in free form. I almost want to say free fall. That may be a possibility, but we're going to take a positive look, free form. So we are getting rid of some older tools, and we are starting to have some new tools appear for us. So what do those tools look like? How do we handle them? What's going to be the new normal? Oh, we're back. Okay, so what are the possibilities? So when we're looking around at what's happening now, what are our new possibilities? This new tool of our environment, what we're doing. Allison's making 5 quilts. I think that's awesome, Allison. And then continue on with the quote. Dilemma again and again is when to stick with familiar tools and materials, and when to reach out and embrace those tools that offer new possibilities. That's where we are now. We are in that space of, are we going to keep holding on to how it was, how nice it was, our lives, and that particular way? Are we going to embrace the new things and the possibilities that go with the new? What are we going to do? And we really have this opportunity. And so, like being home, it's like you have opportunities. And I know it's a hard thing because I'm feeling it too, where it's just like it wears on you a little bit to be home like this and not know what's coming and like we're dealing with our kids at home and some of their possibilities and struggles, and so we're doing that, and here we are this far away. And so I get the idea that we can't just pretend, but in the doing there are new opportunities for us, new possibilities. And so I don't think we should underestimate that, especially for our own mental well-being. And this whole thing, to me, it's like the creative process is so wonderful in and of itself. But the idea that you can tie analogies to life and take the things that happen in that process and tie it back to life, just like this, there are new possibilities, just like new art tools give new possibilities. But yes, you don't know how to use it. So, all the new tools that are coming out, I just think of paper art and all these things. They're all awkward when you're trying to do it, and it's so much easier if somebody shows you how to do it. But there's not going to be somebody necessary to show you how to do it, so you got to go through the struggle yourself. We have to just go through it and look at it as a new way of living well, and we're going to live well with the new circumstances, with the new tools we have. So, I keep stopping and starting. Okay, so that is the tonight.